Hi, I'm Dave, founder of Halloween Year Round, and I'm coming to you from what is clearly a very dark and creepy place with pink and purple paint on the walls, as well as butterflies. However, it's very fitting because the movie we're here to talk about kind of has that exterior of oh, it's so cute and nice and all that. But underneath all that is something dark, and sinister. I'm of course talking about the new radio silence movie Abigail, which is not a remake of Dracula's Daughter. We'll get into that though. Really fun movie. Had a little bit of issues with it, but real quick before we get into that, did you know Halloween Year Round now has a Patreon? I'll put a link in the description. For just $5 a month, you can join, and one of the perks you get is every month I do a commentary with my wife, Jess, who you've probably seen on the channel, and you just get to listen to us argue about movies the entire time, and, well, who doesn't like that? So, on to the movie.
We kidnapped a fucking vampire. A ballerina vampire.
I think there's definitely a market for this type of movie, kind of this day and age. It sort of hits all the, it's fun, it's super gory, and it has interesting characters in a situation that you're kind of tempted to not like them, at least at the start. So we open up with the ballet. We meet this little girl who is this ballerina. And of course, well, if you've seen the trailer, you know that she gets kidnapped. And she's kidnapped by a group of people. They hold her in this big mansion. And the whole point is, babysit her for 24 hours and her father's going to pay a $50 million ransom. Right off the bat, you have a really strong cast. You've got Melissa Barrera from the Scream movies. You've got Catherine Newton from Freaky and Paranormal Activity 4, both of which have worked with Radio Silence before. You've got Giancarlo Esposito as the guy who arranged this whole thing. You've got Angus Cloud, who sadly passed away right after they finished filming it. And it's just, it's a really cool ensemble cast. And right from the beginning, you're kind of torn. They're literally kidnapping a little girl. So admittedly, it's hard right at the beginning to be I really want to get behind these people because they're doing a terrible thing. I know they're oh, we're not actually going to hurt her, but if the person doesn't pay the ransom, what's kind of assumed? I saw that movie. I saw it. I know what happens. I'm talking about the movie Ransom, not the movie Abigail. Anyways, only one of them is supposed to have any contact with the girl. This is, of course, to protect all their identities. So you have Melissa Barrera, who they're all given fake names. She's just known as Joey. They're basically, their fake names were all members of the Rat Pack. And come to find, plot twist, even though it's in all the trailers, this little ballerina girl is actually a vampire, and it's sort of a, the hunter has become the hunted type thing. One thing that I think would have made this movie even more interesting, and I don't hold it against the movie, it almost works in a From Dusk Till Dawn kind of way. If you go into From Dusk Till Dawn not knowing anything about it, the first half of the movie is this gritty crime thriller that's very much in the style of Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez. And it only kind of turns into a vampire movie when that twist happens. And if you saw the trailers back then, you knew what it was about. But if you were just flipping channels, oh, what's From Dusk Till Dawn? Let me put it on. And you didn't read the synopsis, that would come as a huge surprise. And I think likewise with Abigail, you could come into this movie not having seen any of the previous trailers. And then when she turns into a vampire, you would be just as surprised as the characters were. And I think that's a really interesting dynamic that years from now, people may find this movie on streaming, and it's don't read the synopsis, don't watch the trailer. I'd be very curious to hear from anyone who went into it not knowing that, or I kind of want to show this movie to somebody and not tell them hey, surprise, it's a vampire movie, which I'll mention right now. I am going to get into spoilers from here on out, so you've been warned. If you don't want to be spoiled, go see the movie, then come back and watch this video. You better come back and watch this video. So, Abigail reveals herself to be a vampire, and, obviously the tables are turned out, and she's just killing them one by one. But once it starts, it holds nothing back. It is gory. Hi! What's up, Lily? Daddy's just filming. Talking about a vampire movie. What's up?
Here.
You want me to open these for you? If I open these for you, go eat them in your room? Deal?
No deal.
What? I thought we had a deal. I open these, you go eat them in your room. Deal?
Deal.
Okay, cool. Sometimes one must resort to bribery to get filming done. Alright, here you go. Go eat them in your room, okay? I love you.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, Lily, okay. Where was I? So when that reveal happens, they do manage to subdue Abigail because Joey realizes that the sedative they gave her to initially kidnap her actually works, and she was kind of out of it. So they trick her into giving her that, and they get her into a cage where, she kind of makes all these threats, and she's like, oh, I'm the one who, brought you all here and all that stuff. This is where the movie, at least for me, moves in a direction that I wasn't the biggest fan of. So all along, you've had all these different people, part of the job, and you've had this guy, Frank, who, I forget the actor's name. He played Beast in the live-action Beauty and the Beast. British guy with a very thick New York accent that he's really playing up to hide the British one. And all along, he's been kind of an asshole to everybody. He's the one who first went in with a gun and threatened Abigail. Who's your father? Who do you work for? Da, da, da. So the movie doesn't... Okay, let's be frank. This is my channel. I can say whatever I want. Having a movie where the villain is a vampire ballerina little girl, that's all fun and games. But then you are faced with two options. You can either have her win and kill everybody, or you can have them win and kill her in the end. And even though we, the audience, know she is a centuries-old killing machine and she is not actually a little girl, the fact is she looks like and is played by a little girl. So to have them kill her would kind of disturb audiences. And I get that, and I get that this movie wanted to keep things light and fun. At the same time, they had already established with the Joey character, played by Melissa Barrera, that she herself had a son, that, she's a former army medic who had a morphine addiction, and, this is her way of, she does this job, she gets the money, she can get custody of her son back, and, she can start a new life for her and her son. So, again, to keep things fun and light, you also don't want to have Abigail just kill them all, including her. So they're like, let's take this guy Frank, let's make him kind of an asshole, and then let's have him kind of make a deal with Abigail to, let her out, and then she bites him, but then, he gets her blood and becomes more powerful, and oh, now we can have Abigail and Joey team up against this asshole Frank, and he's the villain for the third act. I get why they did it. I understand that. I just kind of wish the movie had, for lack of a better term, I wish it had had the balls to actually be like, you know what? Our villain is a vampire little girl, and we're going to dare you to get into this, and we're going to dare you to root for them to kill her, and we're going to dare you to watch them stake her through the heart and be like, you've been having fun this whole time, but this is a horror movie we're supposed to disturb. For the record, I'm not advocating that more movies should include little girls being killed. Can we just... I'm walking into very dangerous territory right now. Can we state for the record, I am not saying that at all. I am not saying that would be a fun, pleasant thing to do. I'm just saying that having Abigail team up with Joey against Frank and turning him into the villain just for the third act feels like a huge cop-out. Did that take away from my enjoyment of the movie? Not really. Like I said, it's really gory. It's got great kills. It's got funny moments. It's got, relatable, interesting characters that, you're kind of rooting against in the beginning and then you're kind of rooting for. Like, it does challenge you in ways like that. And it is a fun watch. I saw it, with a packed crowd, opening night. It is a fun movie. I will give it that. It'll be great for, gathering your friends. Let's get together, get some popcorn. Let's watch something fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I just wish that it had committed to its own premise from the beginning. And the fact that it didn't felt very studio mandate rather than, indie filmmaker just daring to go there. The way that Damien Leone dares to go there in the Terrifying movies. The way that Immaculate really dared to go there. I kind of wish this movie had. That's all. And again, I know I mentioned this before. Technically, Abigail is Dracula's daughter, but to say that this is a remake of Dracula's daughter, that'd be like saying Hotel Transylvania is a remake of Dracula's daughter because it features Mavis, who is Dracula's daughter. This is not plot-wise, it has nothing to do with it. Yes, it did start out as a remake of Dracula's daughter, but virtually the movie we have now, the final product, is completely unrelated to that 1936 movie. Not that it's a bad movie, you should check it out. And this is maybe another thing. It's interesting to me that in the past year, Universal has released 3 Dracula movies with Renfield, Last Voyage of the Demeter, and now Abigail. And it leaves me wondering, what if this was the dark universe like we had always wanted? These 3 movies with like The Invisible Man. It's almost like they tried to do the universe and failed with The Mummy. And now they're just giving us good standalone horror movies that maybe one day they could connect them because that's what they should have done all along. I don't know. Just that's an afterthought. That's a thought for a different video in a different time. Let me know if you want me to do a whole video on this new dark universe and what could or should be. Let me know in the comments, what did you think of Abigail? Did you think it was fun? Did that little cop out at the end bother you as much as it did me? Or am I just weird and stuck up and annoying? All of those can be true at the same time. So like, share, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. If you don't, you may end up locked in a mansion with a vampire ballerina who rips your head off. And as always, every day is Halloween.